What's up guys, it's Mike for SimRacing604 and welcome back to rFactor 2. One of the more common questions I see about this title is which DLC should I buy? There's a lot of DLC on offer from Studio 397, all of it good, but some of it has a pretty hefty price tag, so today I'm going to share my recommendations for which DLC I would recommend adding to your collection. And by the way, if price is an issue for you, as it is for most of us, try and hold off until a Steam sale comes around. I'll be breaking this out into 3 sections: car packs, individual cars, and tracks. And these recommendations are roughly in order, with my strongest recommendations from each category being mentioned first. But honestly, anything mentioned in this video is outstanding content, so your personal preferences will matter more than the order I've listed. So we'll start out with the Endurance Pack, and the Endurance cars in rFactor 2 are among the best in sim racing period. And with this pack you'll be adding 3 GTE cars, an LMP3 car, and an LMP2 car, which gives you a nice variety of competition for racing, and each of these cars is extremely well done, so this is my top recommendation for DLC to buy. And next up, the GT3 Challengers Pack. Assetto Corsa Competizione has rightfully become the de facto sim for GT3 cars, but don't forget about these offerings in rFactor 2. ACC obviously wins out in many aspects of GT3 racing, but in terms of actual driving feel, I actually prefer these ones over ACC. And the Challengers Pack gives you 5 cars, and the handling between the various cars is nuanced enough to keep you interested in driving each of them, so the Challengers Pack is my second recommendation. If buying car packs isn't your thing, you can build some pretty cool one-make race series, or just have some fun in a single car with cars like this Porsche Cup car. Porsche Cup actually includes 3 variants of this car and a large number of liveries, so you do get a lot for your money here. So the Porsche Cup is my first individual car I recommend. Opinions on Formula E cars range from them being the future of racing to being power drills on wheels effectively, but there's little doubt that the team at Studio 397 has done a great job bringing us the fun of Formula E with their cars. And with this race bundle, you'll not only get the excellent 2019 version of the Formula E car, but you'll also get 2 great Formula E tracks with Hong Kong and Monaco. And for those that only want the car, you can run them also at the free Leicester track you're seeing here as well. Next up is the BMW M2 CS Racing. Studio 397 doesn't really do road cars, but this BMW is probably close enough to a road car for most of us. It's fast, but not so fast that you can't enjoy the driving experience of taking this car to somewhere like the Nordschleife and just enjoying the fun of driving rather than racing. And as far as I'm aware, this is the only example of this car in sim racing, and it's a real pleasure to drive. So the BMW M2 CS Racing is definitely a recommendation. Probably the best way to describe the McLaren Senna GTR is wild. The base car is wild, the concept of modifying that car for track use is wild, acceleration, braking, turning ability are all just wild. And this is a weird one for me to recommend because it doesn't really work as a one-make car, nor does it fit into any race series on offer currently, but the performance is just so off the charts that it needs to be experienced, and it may even serve as a vanguard for future GT and endurance series, who knows. Overall, it's just a lot of fun. McLaren Senna GTR. And lastly, for the individual cars, the Ferrari 488 GTE. This is the first Ferrari to appear in rFactor 2, and it's an excellent way to supplement the endurance pack I love so much that I mentioned earlier. And this is also the most recent car added as DLC to this title, and it ranks among the best cars in all of sim racing in my opinion. I think it's absolutely fantastic, so we will close the cars with that recommendation. And just one footnote about the cars in rFactor 2, the kart sim DLC is apparently excellent as well. Kart racing isn't part of my sim racing world, but I've heard from others that the karts are excellent, so you can look at adding that one too if karts are your thing. And moving on now to tracks, and we'll start off with Sebring. So when Sebring was released to us in 2018 for rFactor 2, a lot of people thought it was the best track ever developed in sim racing. And regardless of where you rank it, there's no doubt that Studio 397's version of this Florida raceway is epic. It works for almost any car or race series you can think of, and it gets my top recommendation for DLC tracks. Next up, Nürburgring. Almost every major racing sim has the Nürburgring and the Nordschleife tracks, so you'd be excused if you passed on adding this track to your collection, but you would be missing out on the 6 varieties of the Nürburgring, including maybe the best version we have of the legendary Nordschleife circuit. It's better to think of this as a track pack rather than a single track, as there's enough variation between the various layouts to keep things fresh and to fit the car you're driving that day to a certain circuit. Really well done, and obviously a legendary track, so easily a recommendation from me. And we'll conclude things, guys, with the Le Mans 24-hour circuit. Circuit de la Sarthe is probably the most famous race course in the world, as it hosts the Le Mans 24-hour endurance race annually, but surprisingly very few racing sims have it as official content. But Studio 397 has given us the track and put rFactor 2 in a position of maybe being the best endurance racing sim today. This is obviously the perfect add-on for those with the endurance pack, so it nicely rounds out this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found these recommendations helpful, and we will see you next time.